Hi all, welcome to the series of interview questions front-end every day with a vision to make each day better with a smaller step. Let's see question 34 of this series. So today we will be seeing what is the difference between an arrow function and normal function. Okay, normal function it is a whole function. Okay, arrow function is something which came up with ES6. Okay, it is like this. Okay, normal function is this is the normal function, right? This is a normal function. Arrow function is something like this, right? This is a arrow function and this is a normal function, right? Normal function, right? Right. So let us see the difference. Okay. Uh, if you take arrow function is more concise, right? As you can see, it is more concise. And here we have to write the function keyword. So normally this will have more benefits, the arrow function, since it came newly, right? So they try to bring this syntax to overcome certain issues in the case of normal function. Okay, normally this will have more benefits. Let us see the differences. Okay, so let me. So in all these five cases, there are differences between this normal function, arrow function. The most important being this value. Okay, okay. If you take this value, right? This value, no, normally in JavaScript, this value depends on how it is being called. That is on the left hand, whatever is that, it will depend on that, right? Let me take this. Okay, I already maybe I will delete it, print it again. Okay, the same. Okay, here if you see, I have a my object. Inside that, I have a method. Inside the method, it will be a callback, right? I have a callback function, and I'm calling that callback inside set timeout. And once I call this my method, it should call this callback. As you know, with the normal this, right? This callback, what will be the value of this here? Value of this will be how this set timeout is called. Since set timeout is a window function and the left hand thing is empty, it will be this will point to window object as I have put here. And this inside the my method will be my object since the my method is called with the left hand operator, left hand thing being my object, right? So you will be seeing my object and then window object, right? Right. You are seeing object. This is the print of this object, and the second one is the window. This is inside the callback. If we want, okay, maybe if I want, maybe I'll copy it here to JS Fiddle. If I want this to point to the surrounding context instead of the window context, what I have to do? I have to call this bind this, right? In normal, this is a normal function, right? I'm not used to arrow function. If I do like this, then this will point to the object, the my object. Since I'm binding this, okay, if I run this, object, just put like this so that I will clear the console and run it. Oh. So you can see the object to points to the object, this object, right? This is the context of it. right? This is how normal function works. But in case of arrow function, do we need all this? Do we need the bind? I'll just show you. Okay, let's see arrow function. Okay. Mhm. Maybe okay. In case of arrow function, I will just convert this as a arrow function now. Okay. If we convert this as an arrow function, okay, okay, you don't need this because the main difference with the arrow function is, okay, it does not create a context of its own. It just states. It does not create the execution context. As we have seen in function, it creates the execution context for a function. But in case of arrow function, it does not create a execution context of its own, but it will take the context of the surrounding whatever where it is placed. That context only it will take. So this is all not needed if you change it to arrow function, right? So now if you see the value, right, I will just clear the console, maybe make it big so that you are able to see it. So now that this value will be pointing to my object since the arrow function does not create the context of its own, and it will share the context of its surrounding function where it is placed. Okay, so it will share the context of the my method which has this pointing to my object. Okay, if I run this, you will see. So you can see the object 22, we are able to see this my object context without the need for bind. Okay, so in case of arrow function, you don't need bind, call, and apply because normally it will take the context of the surrounding function. Okay, this is the main difference. Okay, let me see the next difference. Okay, other difference is constructor. Okay, in case of constructor, okay, we have to go for normal function only. If you want plan to use the function as a constructor, then you have to use it with normal function only. If you try to use a arrow function in place of constructor, you will get a error that car is a constructor. It's not a. You will get a error that maybe that vehicle is not a constructor, right? So always understand for using a function as a constructor, you have to go only for normal function. You should not go for arrow function because you will get a error. Okay, as you can see here, you will get a error like this, right? Vehicle is not a constructor. Okay, this is one of the what you say drawbacks of using arrow function. Okay, and other differences arguments. Okay, normally in normal function you have a thing called arguments, right? If I go to JS Fiddle, in case of normal function, you can print the arguments whatever you send to a function, normal function. You can print the arguments, but I have not put anything here. But you can print the arguments, right? If you try to print it, you will see the arguments. But this will not be available in case of arrow function. Maybe I will convert the same as arrow function. Okay. So just make it, you can make it the same. ABC. Okay. If you put ABC, AB, you will see this arguments will be empty now. Okay, we can comment this for time being. Okay, and if we run this, see now we are getting error that arguments is not defined, because in arrow function that arguments will not be defined. If you want to take the arguments, you have to do something like this: args. Okay, you have to use var args, and then you have to print the arguments. Okay, this is also been removed in case of, you can see it here, right? This is also been removed in case of arrow function, right? Okay, the next difference being the implicit return. Okay, in case of normal function, we don't have a way to define the function like this, correct? You can't define a function like this. You can define the, if you define it like this, it will do a implicit return. Okay, I can show you this. I will just copy it. Okay, I'll just copy it here. Okay, this is an empty function, right? If you even you have something 42 here, if you don't return 42, it will not be returned from the empty function. So there is no implicit return. Whatever you return only will come back when you call that function. If you run this function, right, it will be undefined only. Okay, it will not print anything. Okay, but in case of arrow function, okay, we'll comment this. Okay, in case of arrow function, what you can do, you can write the function like this also in a single line. Okay, this is not possible in case of normal function. Okay, can just say 42 or 1 plus 1. Okay, let my empty function be something like this, and you can call this function. Maybe I will do a console log. Mhm. See, you can see it returns 2. This way you can write without any braces also in case of arrow function, but this can't be done with the case of normal function. Without braces, not possible, and you need not also return. There is an implicit return in this case. Okay, even if you return 42 here, just put 42 here, there will be an implicit return in case of arrow function. Okay, you can see it here, right? But this is not the case. We don't have an implicit return, and you cannot write it this way also with the without braces in case of normal function. Next is in case of methods. What is the difference? Let us see what is the difference in case of methods. Let me copy it to JS Fiddle so that I can explain you the differences. So, okay, we have it something here. Let me clear it and we will try it now. Okay. So here we have a hero class which has a constructor and log name. Okay. I am creating an object out of this hero class, and from the Batman, I'm trying to print in the Batman object using set timeout. I'm trying to call this log name. And what will be the value for this here? Will it be what will be in this case? What will be the value of this? Since it is called out of set timeout, this will point to window object. Since set timeout is called is a window function and the left hand is empty. The whatever you in the left hand is empty, it means like this only. Okay, even if you don't write it, it has a implicit windows. So that this, in case of a normal function, will point to a windows object. Okay. Now, since from a window object you are trying to call hero name, it will be undefined because window will not have anything, right? So if I clear the console and if I run it, it will be undefined. If you want to fix this, what you have to do? You have to put bind Batman. If I want to do it, you are trying to change the context now, right? Now, if you do, you will get Batman. But now let's understand in case of arrow function. This is how it works in case of normal function. In case of you change this into a arrow function, okay, I'm just changing it to arrow function. You don't need all this bind because the arrow function, as I told you, will not create the context of its own. It will share the context of this surrounding context. So it will use the context of the surrounding this. So you will automatically get the hero name out of it will take the context of the object. Okay, you will get it directly with no need to do this bind and all. You see now, you will get Batman. So this is one of the major differences. You will feel it in case of this. Okay, because uh, try to understand the arrow function does not create the context of its own. It will share the context. It will share the surrounding context only. Okay, hope this is clear. Hope you are able to understand all the differences whatever we pointed out, right? All the 5 differences. Hope you understood. Thank you, guys.